This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform.
Cabin crew, prepare for landing, thank you.
Hands down, cats are better than dogs. Unless you're traveling. Okay.
What do you want? Tell the folks how difficult you are being.
Oh my gosh. She escaped. She escaped.
Oh my god. Cats are not the animal to fly with.
Hey, it's Sunday and welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'm gonna be talking about my experience flying with my cat internationally. I was flying between Japan and California. It was a lot. So if you want to see and hear about how I flew internationally with my cat, keep watching. So let's start off with airline requirements. I flew with Delta, and the very first thing you want to do after you get your ticket is get your cat's ticket.
It doesn't cost as much as the human one.
I mean, they don't even really get a seat. But it was $200 one way for an international flight. That was the price for one carrier. I was told you can put two if they can fit comfortably in there, but if you have more than one carrier, then you gotta pay another $200. Now, you need to call and book their spot immediately because some aircrafts only allow a small amount of pets on board, like 2 to 4. And this is first come, first serve. There are also limitations on things like which aircrafts accept pets and even what seat you can sit in. For example, you cannot sit in an emergency exit row or a bulkhead seat. The bulkhead seat is the one directly behind a wall or a divider. Delta requires your cat to remain inside of the carrier underneath the seat in front of you at all times, so you can't book those because there is no seat in front of you. However, huge tip here, you can't book the seat with the wall in front of you, but I highly recommend you book the seat with the wall in back of you. Usually when I fly, I try and book a seat as far to the front as possible so I can feel slightly less poor, but this time I actually recommend booking the very last row. It was way more peaceful. I didn't have an entire cabin in back of me, and so there was less traffic of people walking back and forth. It's right next to the bathroom, and I was in and out of there the entire flight. Also, there's a wall in back of me instead of people, which I will talk about a little bit later, but that definitely came in handy when she escaped. There's quite a bit of a requirement, so be sure to check ahead of time. They all vary depending on where you're going and where you're coming from. United Airlines is another one that allows pets, and they have this really cool pet relief area. Not that great for cats, but I can definitely see this being very useful for dogs. For the carrier, Delta requires it to be a soft-sided carrier, 18 by 11 by 11. It must fit underneath the seat, and your cat must be able to stand and turn around in it comfortably. It was actually a struggle finding a bag with these exact dimensions. I got as close as I can possibly get. I think as long as it fits underneath the seat, you're good. I just went on Amazon and searched for airline approved carriers, and it got pretty close, but almost none of them were the perfect size. Are y'all not communicating? So I ended up going with this expandable soft-sided carrier from PQ. $60, not bad. Came really quick too. This bag had tons of features to make travel more comfortable for your cat. It had really great ratings, and they just seemed to know their stuff. Like, there was so much information. My main concern was a bag with breathability. Is that a word? I don't know, but the air in the air don't be airing. It's stuffy as heck on them planes. My cat has some major anxiety, and I was so scared she was gonna have like a panic attack and not be able to breathe. Like, why is it so hard to breathe? Airlines suggest 3 sides of ventilation. Not only was the bag breathable, but it can also expand to give them more space when they're not underneath the seat. Another thing I was worried about was this soft shell frame collapsing and not giving my cat much space, but this one actually comes with a metal built-in frame. I was like, oh, this is a good point, but then when I got underneath that seat, that frame absolutely did not fit. It was a little bit too high, and I couldn't push the entire carrier underneath the seat. Luckily, they did not come to check. When I got off of the plane, I actually realized that it has these 2 clamps at the bottom, which will allow the frame to go down a little bit. So it's still a good point, I guess. Quick tip. A few days or weeks before it's time to go, you want to get your cat familiar with the bag that it's going to be traveling in. She's very familiar with the hard shell case. Anytime I bring that thing out, she runs for the hills. Absolutely hates it. She knows when she sees that thing, it's time to go to the vet. You want this to feel like a safe space. Like, this entire process is so freaking stressful. The last thing they want is their environment, their space, to also be a scary, stressful, unfamiliar environment. I just left the bag out open in some of her favorite locations. I had it like in the kitchen and in the bedroom, and just allowed her to go in and out of it and have that feel like a familiar, safe space. Another thing that I did to make this box feel like a home away from home was I put one of her favorite blankets that she always lays on. That way she has a familiar scent while traveling, which you might be doing a lot of before it's even time for the flight.
This next part is not fun at at all.
Let's talk about these requirements. There is a butt ton of things that you have to get and prepare. This will vary depending on your destination, but I can only talk about what is required for traveling between Japan and California. But I will say the requirements for leaving Japan were a lot less for coming back. So, first, leaving Japan and flying into California. You need your bag, the advance reservation ticket for your pet, a health certificate issued within 10 days before departure by a licensed veterinarian, and lastly, the worst thing, which I had no idea even existed, a Japan export quarantine certificate. You have to submit advance notice at least 10 days before departure, and the timeline is really tricky because you also need your flight and that health certificate. Not to mention, this inspection is done in person, so you have to book an appointment ahead of time, and their schedule could be full. After you book your appointment, you have to drive all the way up to the airport with your pet just to do this inspection where they just check really quick and give you a certificate. This was the very last thing that I got. I had no idea it was even a thing. I didn't read about it anywhere. The airline didn't tell me anything about it. I felt so bad for my cat. Not only did she have to travel to the vet, but now she had to go to the airport before going to the airport, which isn't very close. So on top of the flight time, we also had all of this travel time in the car. Now, that's all you need to get into California, but there are some other things that I do recommend that you get just to make coming back a lot easier if you are planning on returning to Japan. I found some awesome workarounds that will save you so much time and you won't have to do that 180-day quarantine. It's too much detail to be going over in this video, so I did create an entire blog on all of this information if you guys want to check things out. Just head to my website, sundaicity.com,
Which I made with the sponsor of today's video.
Squarespace, you already know.
But if you did not know,
Squarespace is this amazing all-in-one platform that allows you to create so many different things. You can make a website like I did and write blogs. You can open up an online store, sell physical products, digital products, or even an online course. They've got so many features to help you get off the ground, including an invoicing system and Squarespace AI, which can help you write. I just love all of their beautiful customizable templates that you can use. And the best part, you can try it out for 14 days risk-free. Just go to squarespace.com. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Sundaiklove and you'll save 10% off of your first purchase of a website or a domain. And thank you again, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video. Y'all, I had so much anxiety about this trip. My cat does not do well outside of the house. She hates other places. She hates people. She's so scared all the time. I have never met another creature who has worse anxiety. She gets so stressed, she'll just stop eating for the entire day and hides and don't even care about if she has enough air where she's at. It's just, oh gosh, my poor baby. So I actually asked the vet when I went in for her check to give me some medication, and they did give me something to make her calm and kind of sleepy during the flight. If you're gonna do this, I highly recommend you test out the medication before you actually fly, just to make sure it's safe and you don't have any issues while you're in the air. I was instructed to give her one dose when we got to the airport right before the flight. I think it helped a little bit, but not that much. It definitely wore off pretty quickly. What are you doing, Dookie? Y'all know Japan and their medication is like watered down nonsense mixed with placebo. It wasn't very strong. Which brings me to the next topic, what to pack in the bag. Things to bring with you. So for things to bring, it's gonna depend on where you're going and how far it is. Also, your cat's needs and preferences. I'm a worrywart, so I was just thinking about everything I would possibly need for the worst case scenario, like diarrhea. I already knew she was gonna be way too scared to eat, so I did bring her favorite treats. She usually cannot resist these. I also brought some other treats just in case she wasn't in the mood for those. I brought some of her normal dry food as well in a little Ziploc bag. For the toilet situation, I brought some litter in a Ziploc bag and I put that inside of another plastic bag. And then I found this awesome waterproof foldable box at Daiso, the dollar store in Japan. This is not a litter box. I'm pretty sure you can find one, but when I was looking, I was like, oh, that's really pricey for a box. You got me messed up. I'm gonna figure this out. So I found something at the dollar store and it worked perfectly. I highly recommend if you can find something like this because it was super easy to clean and fold and take out, and it was a great size. Tip about the litter box. So she usually uses these wooden pellets as her litter at home, right? But I thought I should bring some type of smaller litter that I could easily flush down the toilet. So I got this special chalk litter. Don't do it. Wow, that was definitely a mistake. Oops, didn't think that through. It was so dang messy. Alright, we've made quite a mess. This is the situation. Oh my god, don't buy this litter. Not only is it super duper small and easy to just scatter all over the place, but it just melts. Any water that litter touches turns to clay chalk. I spent so much time cleaning the bathroom like I had to. Who else on the plane would have gotten litter all over the floor? Don't get this dissolvable chalk stuff. Another thing that came in handy, pet wipes. There was a lot of mess. lot of things going on. Definitely bring some wet pet wipes. I got these portable collapsible food bowls on Amazon. They're so handy, very easy to pack and clean. Each time we would go to the bathroom, I would just fill it up with water to see if she would drink anything. If she didn't, I could just dump it out and fold it and put it back into the bag. Another thing that I brought was this really big blanket. It's very thin and breathable. What I did was I put down the tray table in front of me and then I put this blanket over the top. And then she's underneath that seat in front of me, right underneath the tray table. It's just made like a little blanket for it. That way she couldn't see all of the stuff that was going on, and that really did help to keep her calm. I actually didn't even end up using the blanket that I brought because the plane gives you an already too thin blanket with your seat. So I just used that. For inside of the bag, I lined the bottom of her bag with multiple puppy pads for cushion and just in case she had any accidents. And then I also put in her little blanket that she already uses at home in the window seal. I had an additional blanket with me in my backpack, as well as some small washcloths and towels just in case something, again, diarrhea. I don't know how y'all fly with babies, because there was a lot of anxiety thinking about what could come out in the wrong place. Very comfortable. I did put a little scratching pad in there, but that was absolutely unnecessary, and I ended up taking it out halfway through the flight because it was just taking up room in here, and of course she's not scratching. Why would she be scratching in this environment? This whole flight was a hot mess. Like, I already know my cat, so I knew she was not gonna be feeling any of this and it was gonna be a problem. I didn't know what kind of problem. It could be a screaming fit because she's very noisy, or she could have like a panic attack. I don't know. I was just really worried, and I knew it wasn't gonna go well. This was so stressful. She didn't want to eat anything. She didn't want to eat her treats.
You don't want treat? Nothing? No treat?
A lot of people like to bring tube treats of KYOTO. It's like this liquid. I didn't bring any of that because it gives my cat the runs. Don't need that. She didn't want to drink water.
Okay, drink the water. Drink water. Look. You don't want water? Nothing? Oh, this is a nightmare. No water?
She didn't want to use the litter box.
Go pee-pee. Look. Litter.
I spent so much time in the bathroom just trying to get her to go to the bathroom.
Do the pee-pee. Go pee-pee. You can do it, Georgie. Look. Go pee-pee. Pee-pee. Yeah. You got it. Oh my gosh.
She would not use the bathroom.
Okay.
It is a really long flight. You have to go. Girl, I know you gotta go.
Georgie, go pee-pee. In the box. Look at this fresh litter. When there's turbulence, go pee-pee. Okay.
I went back and forth to the bathroom so many times just trying to get her to use the litter box.
You're doing well.
I wasn't trying to force her to use the bathroom. She would just start screaming so loudly that you either want something or I need to take you to the bathroom anyways to quiet you down. Because the eyes, oh, they are staring. She was literally giving the same energy as an infant on a plane. But I was really worried that she hadn't gone to the bathroom or really eaten anything or had much to drink in so long. Like, while we're in here, you might as well try. And finally, during the last hour of the flight, she was ready to go tinkle. I was so happy, and then I wasn't. My dumb butt, I brought all of these plastic bags so that I could line the litter box before I pour the litter in there, and I didn't even do that. I just poured the litter directly in there, and after she tinkled, I realized, like, oh, I don't have a scooper. This was a nightmare. And it was the last hour of the flight. We were like literally landing. We weren't even supposed to be in the bathroom, Doochie. Just be sure you don't forget to line the litter box with a plastic bag so that you can, just tie it up and throw it away instead of having a headache for the day. Yo, I be having bars. She should have been a rapper. So, after her medication that the vet gave her started to wear off, she began to get very antsy. Y'all, she escaped in the plane. What? The airline says you're not allowed to take your cat out of the carrier, so I didn't want to do anything like that unless it was an emergency. The only way to keep her calm was if I just unzipped the top and then like bent over and pet her. So I was sitting like this petting her for so long and I fell asleep.
We'll find her.
Remember when I told you about booking the very last seat in the plane because there's a wall behind you? Well, this is why it came in handy. At some point during that nap, she escaped. and I didn't even notice. KO'd. While my hand was in there and the top was unzipped, she zipped. Thank goodness the guy next to me was so kind. He was being very accommodating to this whole situation. We was chopping it up a whole lot before I even got on the plane, but yeah, he actually is the one that found her. He like woke me up and he was like, hey, something's been moving around down here. I felt something brush by my leg. I'm pretty sure it might be your cat. Is she in the bag? I was like, is she in the bag? She's not. Yeah, so she escaped. She got to the row and back, and that is why I was so happy that there was a wall right there. But the row on the other side noticed that there was a cat, and they were like, oh my god, and it got just a little bit noisy, but I was like, everybody shh. And then the stewardess found out that there was a cat loose on the plane. They were really shocked and in a panic at first, but then I was like, hey, it's totally fine. I got her. It's okay. I quickly grabbed her. She was just in the back, and then I put her back in the thing. But it was a whole moment. Don't fall asleep with the top of the bag open. Towards the end of the flight, she was not having any more of this nonsense. She was done with the whole situation, and she did not want to be in that bag for one more second. So I spent so much of my time in the bathroom again, this time just comforting her. Like, she did not want to lay in the bag. Luckily, we were right next to the bathroom because I had to spend so much time in there just comforting her and giving her some time to lay down because she did not want to be in that bag anymore. She was screaming so loud, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do something. It's like I literally had a baby on board moment. I had to like take her out of the bag and just let her sit in my lap. Again, luckily the people around me were okay with that. I had the blanket over her, so it was fine, and I stayed awake. I watched a little bit of anime. Of course, the anime about cats. There couldn't be a more perfect anime to watch during the flight than this one. If you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. I really love this one. It was actually my second time watching it. But yeah, I just sat there, watched some anime, and I left her in my lap for a little while, and that kept her calm. But if I had to put her in the bag, she would just scream nonstop. Getting out of the airport was really smooth. I do have global entry, clear, and TSA, so like all the lines and all that stuff was not a problem. The entire journey, start to finish, was so much travel time. After we got to the airport, I had to get a shuttle bus to the rent-a-car place, so she had to get on the shuttle bus, and then it took quite some time to get the rental-car, and after I got the rental-car, I had to drive 3 hours to Bakersfield. This poor cat, it was so much travel. She somehow hated the car even more than she hated the plane. I didn't even know that was possible, but I did let her loose in the car because I know she didn't want to be in that bag. I put her little portable litter box on the floor. I put her little water and food. She didn't touch anything until we got to Bakersfield. I can say without a doubt, Duchess is a Kelly cat. She's not a Kamakura cat. Look at her. She is so happy. Just look at her bed. She loves it here. You stink. Now, for the requirements to fly into Japan. They say Japan is one of the most difficult places to fly to with a pet, and goodness gracious, this is true. Everything takes a lot of time, and you have to do it in a very specific order. I'm talking 7 months of preparation. In addition to everything I already mentioned, you are also going to need a microchip, which must be implanted before any rabies vaccines. Which brings me to rabies vaccines. You need 2. The first vaccine after the microchip, and the second at least 30 days after the first, as well as a rabies teeter test done after the second vaccine, which will start the countdown for the 180-day waiting period. Japan does this to ensure that your cat is truly rabies free, so even if the test results come back early, it doesn't matter, you're still waiting 180 days. There's a very important extra step for that health certificate that you get from the vet, which which can't be issued by just any pet clinic. You have to go to a USDA accredited vet. And then the extra step, you have to get that certificate officially endorsed. Super duper complicated process. Check out my blog. Now, make sure you print everything out. Japan loves their paperwork, and you don't want to mess up anything, because if you do, you're looking at an additional 180-day quarantine at your expense. And I don't know about y'all, but I just don't think my cat would survive that. Now, after you have met the never-ending list of requirements and gotten all of your travel documents, it's time to fly. The check-in process is fairly simple, but the airline did suggest coming a bit early. You do have to take your cat out of the carrier when you go through security, but you can request a private room if you're scared that your cat might pull up and just run away.
If you found any of this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. Ducci would appreciate it. And tell them about the flight. Yeah, it was crazy. How stressful. First class next time.
What do you think? You broke worthless human.